Golly, that's good. I cracked myself up. I still haven't found my first Blanton's. That's different. I really like that. They're like together, like peas and carrots. That's funny. Sometimes accidents are good things. Peychauds or Peychauds or Peychaud. This is not what I expected. Hey, it's Thursday, and don't mind me, I'm just trying to figure out how to open this up. I think I feel it. There it is. There. That wasn't so bad. Alright, so let me stick it back in there so you can see what it looks like. Not that you didn't get to see it in the opening graphic. Well, maybe it'll go. Nah, heck with it. Alright, we're gonna just... Heck with it! Alright. Alright. Okay. Sometimes we don't get along with things. Okay, so this is the H. Deringer. We're kicking off a month of... Hey, Bill's watching and Larry's watching. Thank you for being here. This is going to be interesting. We're kicking off a month of what could be devastatingly terrible pours. We're not on the back porch. It's April. It's raining. You know, April showers bring May flowers. What do Mayflowers bring? Pilgrims. It's an old joke. Really old. For those of you going, what? Huh? Think about it. McFly. So anyway, this is the H. Deringer. As you saw in the opening graphic, it comes with a gun as a cork. We're going to get into that here. Let's just do it. Let's just do it. We'll just do it. We'll go ahead and get it poured, and while we're doing that, we'll talk about it a little bit. I'm not gonna... It's actually really a nice decanter. Oops. Terrible pouring, though. James is watching. Hey, James. Alright, so, yeah. The decanter is pretty, but it's not really a very good pouring decanter. I understand it's actual crystal. So, I don't know if I can... I don't know, it feels like glass to me, but crystal is glass, I guess. It says crystal. It's seriously all about the decanter. To think otherwise is not to have done any homework on this particular bottle. The H. Deringer. It is an imported bottle by Aiko, or Aiko Importers, A-I-K-O, and it contains an MGP whiskey. One look at the Aiko website and you can see a variety of other decanters. So I'm going to show you some of these things that they've got out there. This company is all about the decanter. I'm not kidding. It's all about the decanter. So on the left you're going to see that's a Japanese whiskey with, you know, it's got the snake or the serpent or whatever going around it. The one in the middle, that is a brandy. And then the one on the right, that is simple, just a decanter along with your grenade decanters as well. That's branded as the A-Team. Yeah, I don't know, kind of clever actually, I guess. This one, the one on the left is just, I think it's just a decanter. It might have a bourbon in it, I don't remember. The one in the center is a Japanese whiskey. Comes with a sword. I don't know if you'd be able to get that on a plane. And then, of course, the one on the end that the photo actually has a price tag on it. And that is another, I think, Japanese whiskey. And then lastly, of course, you can always go with this one. You know, so it's all about the bottle. It's all about the packaging that it's in. Kind of interesting. But this one, you know, this one, without showing you again, that's a picture of this actual bottle and the decanter topper. It's got that nice little Deringer. What it says here is this exclusive design is a tribute to one of America's famous gunsmiths, Harry Deringer, who designed the Philadelphia Deringer, a popular concealed carry percussion handgun of the era. Because of their small size and easy availability, Deringers sometimes had the dubious reputation for being a popular assassin tool. John Wilkes Booth fired the most famous Deringer used for his purpose with President Abraham Lincoln's assassination. The Deringer that's here is supposed to have been modeled off of that similar Deringer. So that's the cork top. It'll look good in the showcase, even if the bourbon is no good. There are no moving parts. It's just to look good. I do have a Deringer of my own. I know, big surprise, right? This is the one I have. This is a 38 special. It's kind of interesting. It opens this way. And then you load it, close it, and then you pull this back around to lock that out, and then it won't open back up again. And then to fire, it's got a really odd trigger, but then to fire it, you pull back, pull the trigger. So, and this is a double barrel. I don't know what it would, I think you have to push this button here to get it to shoot the other barrel. I don't know. Maybe you can just shoot. I've never shot this gun. I've never shot it. I saw it. It's pretty. I don't have a 38 special, so I picked this one up in 38 special, and it's kind of cool. So, but this doesn't go on the top of the bottle. That goes back in my safe. So anyway, Austin's talking. He's saying, interested in your thoughts on this one. I have one myself, and I've not opened it. So I've heard good and bad. You can always rely on the internet to pee on your parade every single time. Something's going to be fantastic and they're going to pee all over it. I did hear a friend of mine had purchased one of these, gave it to his dad, and his dad liked it. But there's no accounting for taste when it comes to dads. My dad had terrible taste. We'll get to that in just a little bit. Let's get back into it. So this is an MGP release. The company is an importer. You saw some of the other bottles, the other decanters. Again, if you go through their website, Aiko Importers, AIKO Importers.com, some of their bottles and decanters are really, really cool. It would be very, very difficult for me not to want to buy some of those just because they're really, I mean, Jim Beam used to come out with these really cool decanters, right? They don't do it anymore, unfortunately. You know, I've got one from the Mount St. Helens disaster I showed you at one point, right? So these guys have taken over with the really cool decanters, and they are, I mean, it's neat. It's going to look great on the shelf, and people are going to say, what's that? But is it any good in the bottle? So the mash bill on this, it's, again, MGP, 75% corn, 21% rye. Hey, Trent, how are you? 4% malted barley. Again, 75% corn, 21% rye, 4% malted barley, made in Indiana, MGP. Aged, they say, either 5 or 6 years in American oak. They're saying the decanter is crystal. Now, one reviewer who I saw on Reddit, I read this and I laughed out loud. I mean, I'm a juvenile. I'm a child. You know this, right? So he said, this gave me the booze poos. It just makes me laugh to say it. But we can all identify, right? Another guy drank it. He said he got a terrible headache not long after drinking it. So I mean, this could be hogwash. I mean, almost literally hogwash. But we're gonna try it. Hey KC, doing well? Hope you are as well. I am. I'm doing great. We're gonna find out if I stay that way after drinking this. We're gonna run it through the whole gamut. So let's get underway here. I will tell you that there is just a little bit of aroma that I've been getting off of it as it sits. And just this far away, I don't love it. I don't know. Okay, let's try it. No, I don't love it. Oh, I don't love that at all. That's like shoe polish. The first thing that came to mind is shoe polish. That's not nice. Okay, I'm going to try to give it I want to love this. I want to be surprised by it. So I'm going to go into this with curiosity. I encourage everybody to go into this stuff with curiosity. All right. Okay. Okay, so this is a high rye. It's a 20% rye. I can get some of those cereal notes out of it. I'm going to spin it. I'm going to spin it. See if I can get it to open up and give me something. Hey, Mike. How are you, sir? Aaron's watching. Hey, Aaron. So far, we're just doing the nose. And it's like shoe polish. I'm trying to get past that. So imagine you had a piece of caramel, or caramel if you have a degree, and you took it out of the wrapper, and you set it on the shelf, and then 10 years later you come back to it, and you see it. It's like, I wonder if that caramel's any good anymore. Then you got to take the dust off of it. Let's say you didn't take the dust off of it. Dusty caramel. And shoe polish. When I read all this. T. Williams, hey, how are you, T? Thanks for watching. I have this one, and it's going to remain on the back of the shelf. Again, I haven't even tasted it yet, and I will. But will it give me the booze poos? It's just funny. I thought that was so clever. But I'm 12. Okay. Now that I'm starting to get used to it, there's a little cinnamon peeking through. Maybe just a little bit of vanilla. It's hard to get around that shoe polish. Because now that's all I got in my head is shoe polish. I'm not feeling good about this. I'm not feeling good about this at all. Hey, Anna's watching. I went to high school with Ann. How are you, Ann? Good to see you. You might see my demise here tonight, Ann. We've known each other for a very, very long time. This may be the last you see me. This may be instant liver disease. All right. Yeah, I'm not getting anything. There's maybe a little orange in it. Okay, all right, okay. All right, here we go. Yeah, Ann, you think it's funny. Taking my life in my hands. There may be a reason why this is called Deringer. I may be shooting myself with this shooter. All right, okay. If it's terrible, what's the backup for the evening? I have no backup. This is the first pour. I'm not kidding. This is the first pour I've had since last Thursday. I went out on Saturday and watched a band, a great band. Drank Canada Dry Ginger Ale all night. Really wanted to do something for the last week that was non-alcoholic. Break the habit, as it were. Because you start having a nightly pour. It's something that you do all the time, and it eventually affects your sleep, all different sorts of different things. So for the last week, I've been sleeping great. I've been getting 8 hours a night. I never get 8 hours a night. I've been sleeping great. It's like drinking burnt ethanol. No. So there's a little sticker down here on the bottle, right here, that says Jim Murray's Whiskey Bible 2022, and it says it got an 88 out of 100. Now, I have the Jim Murray whiskey Bible from 2023. I didn't see it in there. It was just a quick glance. I only had a few minutes left before we actually got started. I have not seen it. There's not a very good index in this, so I will just have to go through and see if I can find this. But it may have come to 2022 and then been omitted for 2023. I don't know. I do like Jim Murray. He got himself in a bit of a hot water, but I kind of like the hot water that he got himself into. I tend to like Rebels, particularly when it's to the culture. I like that. So, all right. Now, one thing I didn't do before I started drinking this is read what the proof is. So give me just a second here while I find that. Alcohol is 46%. So what is that, 92 proof? I'm used to drinking higher proofs. Hey, Brandon, how are you, sir? I'm used to drinking higher proofs now, and it doesn't present itself as a 92 or 90, whatever the hell that was. What did I say that was? I'm doing math, so 92. 6 and 6 is 12. Yeah, 92 proof. So 46% alcohol, 92 proof. Doesn't drink like 92 proof. Ken's watching. Hey, Ken. How are you? We just took our first sip of this. I'm still alive. The nose on this is horrible. The palate, not as bad. So I'm going to do it again. I'm going to see if I can pull out some notes. I didn't get much of a bloom at all. There's like no bloom, no burn. So let's just try it again. There'll be even less this time, but we'll try it. Now it just kind of sits there. A little bit of a burn in the back of my throat. Altogether, the mouthfeel is not terrible. I read online somebody thought it was thin. I don't think it's thin. There's other ones that I've had that have been noticeably thin. This is not thin. It's got a decent viscosity to it. I'm trying to be real with this. I'm not going to tell you something that it isn't. I'm not going to try to glamorize it, but I'm also not going to tear it apart if it doesn't deserve it. I'm going to give you an honest review. This is episode 205. I've had 204 different whiskeys before this one. So I've got a little experience under my belt. I'm not telling you that I'm an expert at it by any stretch, but I've had a little bit of drinking, well, experience. So Chris is watching and Lester's watching. How are you? Doug. So, mouthfeel's not bad. Viscosity's pretty decent. Has almost zero bloom except for the back of the throat where that real soft skin is up in the roof of your mouth in the very back, right before you get to your uvula. That thing that hangs down for no reason whatsoever. All right. So flavors, let's do that. That is hard to pick out. The higher rye on that, the 20% rye is presenting itself. So I'm getting some cereal notes. The problem is that smell is such a huge part of taste. That which goes in your nose affects your taste. So I'm getting that terrible shoe polish type of thing, but it's not as bad as on the nose. Now, I could plug my nose and drink some more of this, but then I wouldn't be able to taste it because such a big part of your taste comes from your olfactory, right there. So Cody's watching. Hey, Cody, glad you're watching, buddy. I still don't, I don't feel like it has much flavor, so that's where I get the burnt ethanol. It's pretty blah. It is. It's pretty blah, and I can see burnt ethanol. Although burnt ethanol isn't a thing, because ethanol, you can't burn it. It's going to evaporate before it burns. Burnt corn, maybe. burnt. Now, burnt isn't always a bad note when it comes to alcohol, and it is a perception, right? It's not what is actually in it; it's what it reminds you of, what it evokes, what it conjures up in your brain as far as what you're drinking, what it tastes like. So when you say it's got vanilla, it's got cinnamon, none of that stuff's in it. It comes out of the barrel, and these are just notes that are typical to bourbon. So if you're new and you're trying to figure all this out, what am I talking about? Well, again, bourbon is bourbon. They take this grain whiskey, they stick it in a barrel, and the flavors that it imparts comes from the barrel over time. And this evidently sat 5 to 6 years. I'm seeing 5 more often than 6. That's going to bring that mellowing to it. But whatever barrel they put it in, it must have had shoe polish in it. Just again, the palate's not as bad as the nose. But pulling out notes from this is difficult because it's got flavors like nothing I've ever seen before or tasted before. This is like nothing I've ever had, and that's not a compliment. It's not the worst thing in the world. I think I like things that are different. This is just difficult to define. George T. Stagg, it ain't. All right, let's get back to it. Okay, that time I was able to do some identification. This is presenting itself as something that I have never been able to present before. I've never been able to tell you that I taste fig. This, I taste fig. There's a type of whiskey that can give you fig, apricot. There was something else too, a little bit of that orange peel. I'm not going to tell you this is the worst thing I ever had. Southern Comfort is worse than this. Southern Comfort ended up getting thrown across the yard. That was awful. It was horrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Awful. Don't make me, Daddy. This is not that as bad as Southern Comfort was. It's not good. But if there was nothing else to drink, and I just felt like emptying the bottle, I wouldn't go so far as to pour it down the drain. It's drinkable. Let's find out. Will it even stand up in a cocktail? Let's get to that. It doesn't taste good. It doesn't taste revolting. But it isn't good. But is it drinkable? That's sometimes the question. Is it drinkable? So a much thinner mouthfeel for me was the 90 proof Ezra Brooks. You don't see that around anymore. They pulled it off the shelves. If you see one, buy it because it's going to go bye-bye completely at some point. They're not even going to bottle it anymore. Now you're going to see the Ezra Brooks 99. I got a couple of likes. Thank you. Very kind of you. Thank you. It doesn't even have a real cork. This is one of those synthetic corks. But that's okay. I don't care. The Deringer, on the other hand, the gun. Come on. It's stuck. That looks like it's got a real-ish cork. Yeah, that cork looks real. So, let's do what we're supposed to do. And, there. It's stupid. It's just stupid. But, I mean, it's cool if you're a gun lover. And I am. Like I said, I got the actual Deringer here. This is the double barrel. It's a 38 special. So, I got respect for the guns. Hey, Tom. How are you? Tom and Ann know each other. We all went to high school together. But I think I like this one on the bottle a little bit better. I don't know. It's just little less stupid. a little less ostentatious. Anyway, All right, so water. It goes right with its flavor. I know. It's. You're right. The topper goes with the flavor quite nicely. They're both just stupid, but we're gonna see what happens when I added a little water to it. I'm not expecting much out of it because it was already not thin, but not robust either. Definitely not complex. This is just something brown. You know, this would be the reason why the Bottled and Bond Act was enacted. Last month, we did the Bottled and Bond Act for 5 weeks, all bottled and bond pours. We went over that stuff, talked about bottled and bond, why it was important. A bottle like this, back in the day, would have been one of those that they sold the bottle, and on the inside there'd be like turpentine, and it would be colored with shoe polish, or tobacco juice, or something, right? So that's why the Bottle and Bond Act was enacted, because if this was 100 years ago, actually 100 more than that, but if it was a little time ago, this would have been a good reason for that. All right, so we've added water to it. It doesn't have a firm foundation. No, it doesn't. I mean, I've got it up here so you can see it. I set it up on stuff, but it's not particularly firm. Kind of like my midsection, not particularly firm. All right. I'm going in. Still very astringent on the nose. No. Didn't do much to it. It improved the mouthfeel a little bit. It's even more viscous now. So, you know, Old Forester it ain't. Buffalo Trace it ain't. But is it the worst pour in the whole wide world? No. I actually, if I were to put this, so last, gosh, it's been a little while back. We did the Oak and Eden Bourbon Inspire. Little pipe cleanery on the nose. That one was one of the worst pours I have ever had in my life. I don't like that gimmicky pardon my language. And this one was one that was supposed to be rapidly aged. You know, they would do whatever they did, like 6 months, and they'd take the spire, you know, of wood and stick it down in the bottle and call it bottle aged, which is crap. It's crap. You're gonna age your whiskey, age your freaking whiskey. Anyhow, I could go on a soapbox about that. But anyhow, that was one of the worst pours I've ever had. It was not as bad as a Southern Comfort, but that Oak and Eden was nasty. I don't like this. This is not as bad as the Oak and Eden. It's not one of the, this would go probably you know what? This is not a, you know what? I'm going to test a theory. Why the heck not? This, I didn't even think about this until right now. This was my worst pour of 2023. Ooh, that was close. I've got some brand new shot glasses. Kind of goes along with the theme. These are NRA shot glasses. I never washed them, so I'm just gonna wipe them out with my shirt and hope that's good enough. Cleveland is still the worst. Dude, yes. The Cleveland Black, yes. Thank you for reminding me of that one. I don't own that one because I'm smarter than to buy that one. But I do own this one. And I'm going to test right now to see which one is the worst pour. We got the Caribou Crossing, which is supposed to be the Canadian Blanton's. It's a single barrel. It's 80 proof. And this was my worst pour last year. And we're going to put that up against the H. Deringer. Because why the heck not? Love this show. Have a great night. Thank you, Ann. That was really nice of you. Justin, I'm glad you're here. Thank you for being here. This is about to... Now, the color on the two, the Caribou is a little darker, but only a little. All right, it ended up in the drain finally. Which one? Did you pour this down the drain? I don't blame you. Or did you pour the Caribou Crossing down the drain? Because I don't blame you. It's a pretty bottle. It's a neat bottle. I'll fill it up with something tasty. Because this is crap. All right. So I'm gonna put them back to back. So this is with the water though. So this is the H. Deringer. The Cleveland went down the drain. Yeah, you couldn't even put that in anything. That was terrible. Cleveland makes some other stuff that I did like. They have one called Cleveland Underground. It's like a black cherry. That I actually kind of liked it. It was thin, very thin on the mouthfeel, but the flavors were nice. So Cleveland may not be a completely lost cause, but that Cleveland Black, oh. All right, so that was the Deringer. This is the Cleveland is my drain cleaner of choice, isn't it? I mean, come on, guys. So now there's a trifecta of opinions that the Cleveland Black is horrid, and I feel terrible punishing my drain with that, but you gotta clean the drain sometime. All right, so this is the Caribou Crossing. My goodness, they're almost the same pour. That's not saying much for the Caribou Crossing. I'm not kidding. All right, you're not going to believe this. Only because the Caribou is that bad. Yeah, so, Mark, the Caribou is that bad. This H. Deringer is better than the Caribou. The Caribou has a better nose. The Deringer has a much worse nose. But on the palate, the Deringer has more flavor. It's not a good flavor, but it's a better flavor than this, than the Caribou Crossing. That just doubles down about how bad the Caribou Crossing is. And people want this bottle so bad. I'm going to empty this out. I'm going to fill it up with something good. The same way, eventually, it may take me a couple of years for both of these, really. I'm going to empty them out. I'm going to fill them up with something good. And I will be honest with people so they don't think that they're drinking Caribou Crossing and that Caribou Crossing is really tasty. Because it's not. Ugh. Finish that up. So to be fair, add a splash to the CC. I have... Mark, this has gone through the gauntlet, man. The Caribou Crossing has gone through the gauntlet. It has gone through the ice and everything else, and it was horrible. And I don't have enough in this, so I'm not going to pour more because you... Yeah. That Caribou Crossing is just awful. Okay. Let's get back to this. If I were to compare this to anything else, I would be like I am the Caribou Crossing. But comparing this to Caribou Crossing, this is a better pour. It's less offensive. Does that make any sense that it's less offensive? That doesn't say anything good about any of it. But that's what we're doing this month is potentially terrible pours. And this is, by the way, a terrible pour. It's better than Caribou Crossing. It's better than Oak and Eden. But I will say this. I would prefer Basil Hayden to this. There. I said it. All right. We still have one more test to do, as much as I really would rather not. And don't forget, coming up, we're going to talk about what we're doing next week. And next week is going to be April 11th. And if you know me well enough, you know what April 11th means. So, and it will be on Thursday. So that will be coming up in a week. Think about it. Use the nog. But I will reveal it here shortly. So my daughter's boyfriend uses the phrase, the nog. He's a young man and he uses other phrases as well. One of them, that everything cool, everything nice, is sick. So there's a little bit of me that's annoyed that I'm using the phrase, the nog. Although I'm not sure that his generation can claim that one. I think it's been around for a number of years. That poured a little bit better. Jeez. Austin says, random sidebar. My 6-year-old really wants you to know that she's going to name her cat KC. Probably unrelated. That's funny. Just as an aside, since you're there, I will tell you that I do not like cats, but they love me. For whatever reason, cats just absolutely love me. I wish they wouldn't, but they do. Finger stir. Gorgeous ice schwał. It's time to make some more ice schwaws. Oh, let's keep going. The liquid doesn't feel that cool yet. Oh, there we go. Okay. That's really cool, Austin, really, that your kid likes this enough, or whatever, that you... So we'll call it Kansas City, or KC Masterpiece, right? The cat's full name can be KC Masterpiece, like the barbecue sauce. I've got good friends that still call me Casey, like C-A-S-E-Y. I just let them roll with it. I got other friends that call me Case. C-A-S-E, Case. Roll with it. You would think that it would be the easiest name. It's 2 letters. It isn't. I could have gone JC. That wouldn't have caused any problems with all. Well, J-A-Y-C-E-E, like the JCs? No, JC, like Jesus Christ. Anyway. Still better than Caribou Crossing. You know, it just took the same flavor and cooled it down a little bit. Starting to get some different type of flavors out of it. If I back this up with actually something good, this would go back to feeling like trash. But for right now, since this is better than Caribou, I'm not hating this. There are others, again, that I've hated a lot more. It's not good. So just know that if you see this in the box and the liquor store owner shows it to you and goes, it's $106 MSRP in Ohio. Do not pay more than that because it's cool. Don't. Is it the worst thing on earth? No. Does it come close? It's not good. My guess is this is the stuff that MGP accidentally dumped on the floor. They got a squeegee and they squeegeed back up into this little trough, and the little trough poured it into a bottle, and they filtered out the dirt and the stones and, you know, wherever the dog pooed, and that's what they put in the bottle, and that's what I'm drinking right now is that. So, yes. If you're looking for a good whiskey, you will not find it in this bottle. It's a cool bottle. Great conversation piece. If you have it, and you have it on your bar, and somebody says, I'd really like to try that, you go, no, you wouldn't. Or put it in something, because it'll stand up. I don't know what it'll taste like, but if you do like a Manhattan with the vermouth, that might hide some of the flavor of it. But again, it's not the worst thing in the world. It's not good, but not the worst. All right, so next week, as we continue our potentially terrible pours, there was one that I saw. I was out of state, and I was buying some other stuff that I really like. And I'll be honest, the clerk at the store was really cute. She was just like, she could have, my tongue was her leash. She could have followed me, followed her around anywhere. She, really pretty girl. And she recommended this one. I will get to that in just a second. First, it's April 11th. That will be my father's birthday. That's what that's all about. And of course, that means we have to return to the Echo Springs. Now, when I started doing this, the Echo Springs was up here. This is probably at least a 30-year-old bottle. It still has the price tag on it. It's not good. But is it better? We'll find that out next week. We'll find it out next week. We'll do this against the Deringer and see which is better. I'm guessing this is going to be better. This is awful. This is not good. But this was Dad's drink, and he was cheap, and he wasn't good at buying booze. He bought good wine. He had good taste in wine. And he had decent taste in beer, but liquor? No. He was cheap. He didn't want to spend a lot of money on booze. So he didn't. So next week will be a return to the Echo Springs. But also, this is the one that the young lady, the pretty young lady that led me around by my tongue. Fighting Cock. Cack. So this is the main event. Next Thursday is the Fighting Cock. I bought this about the same time that I was getting into the Chicken Cock. And you know that I like the rye better than the bourbon, but they're both pretty decent. The rye is definitely better. This one is like a $23 bottle, maybe less. I would have to look and see. I don't remember what I paid for this. It's been a while. I've been afraid to open it. But she was saying, this is great, you're going to love it. Oh, this is so, for what it is, you know, for as low price as it is, oh my gosh, you're really going to love it. But then I've seen other reviews, I've seen other people talk about this, and they think that it's terrible. I don't know. I haven't tried it yet, but that's the point of this month, is opening up those potentially horrible pours. So next week, Fighting Cock, along with my dad's go-to cheap-ass, nasty, drinking out of your shoe bourbon, Echo Springs. So I hope you come back next week as we continue this experiment with terrible pours. And it's going to lead us into, at the end of the month, the last one of these terrible pours. I won't tell you what's coming in between, but the last of the month is the Benchmark 8. That's going to lead us into a benchmark series. And then I've got another series scheduled after that. And we've got different bars, bourbon bars, that want to host us for different shows, so we're going to be doing those as well. It's going to be a great year for the Bourbcast. Thank you for tuning in. You could be doing anything else right now, and here you are, along with me, watching me drink really not good whiskey. So, in the meantime, we will see you next week. I do appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Todd is watching. Todd, as soon as I post this, it'll be Memorex. You can go back and watch the whole thing. And I do appreciate you coming aboard and checking it out. So we will see you next week for Fighting Cock and Echo Springs on Beautiful Bourbon.